Timo Meyer and company went a little extra time on Monday night at Prudential Center, and well worth it. Chico Resch, as the Devils, down 2-0 after one, win by a score of 4-3.
Yeah, I mean, we wanted the Devils to score first, and we talked about how, what an advantage that is. But then they went down 2-0. They weren't terrible in the first period. But, oh, my goodness, the second period starts, they score early, and they never stopped. They dominated that second period. Could have been up by a goal or two, but at least they tied it. And then the third, not knowing what to expect, both teams came out hard going for the victory. And then to get it into OT, it was so exciting, Matty. So many great plays by so many gifted hockey players. But in the end, it was a guy that isn't considered that much of a gifted goal scorer, except in the shootout or on breakaways. And Paul Cotter nails it with a great move, and the Devils win it.
It's been a difficult year for Paul Cotter from an offensive standpoint. He scored 16 goals last year. Coming into tonight's game, he had just 7 on his ledger. Check that, 6 on his ledger. Hadn't scored in his last 7, but comes up with 2 big uns, including the overtime game winner. We're going to be joined by Jesper Bratt here. He's outside the Devils' dressing room. His goal tied things up at 2 in the second period. And Jesper, Matt, and Chico, thanks very much for joining us. Wow, that was a crazy game. It was fun for us. I trust it was fun for you.
Yeah, that was awesome. I mean, I think especially towards the end of the first and then going into the second period, I think we really found our momentum. We found our juice in our legs, and I think we were checking the puck really well. We gave them no time and space. We kind of had them on their heels to just kind of flip it out in the neutral zone, and we could just kept attacking and playing against tired guys. So that was a really, really good period for us, and I mean that's the way Devils can play when we're on our toes.
Well, you know, Jesper, as fans, you wonder, okay, you guys played okay in the first, but they get 2. Then you think, okay, you just came out like on fire in the second. And people say, oh, well, did somebody say something? Is it just something that each player does internally? Or was there something said after the first period that said, whatever, because you guys were just flying?
No, I think we're a committed group. We know how we got to play. I mean, obviously there's times when we need your coach to come in with some detailed stuff of what we got to do better. But I think that we're a mature enough group that we can tell each other what we need to do and what we need to sharp up, and then the coach will usually come with some strategic feedback on how we can expose it even more. But I think when it comes to the competitive mindset and just winning battles and doing the small right things, I think that's most of the times up to our players to take with each other.
Oh no, Brad, Jesper, I'm not talking about the coach coming in. I mean, the coach, he can't do that. It's got to be the guys in the room. Or did they just all know? No, we are coming back. You know what I mean? Like
yeah, no, for sure. No, I think that we obviously knew that wasn't sustainable the way we played, and a lot of turnovers. And I mean, they were just way higher on the competitive level on that first period, and that's kind of why we got some long shifts in D zone. And I mean, we let guys like Pasternak and some of their dangerous guys spend a lot of times in O zone, and I think that's the least thing you want to do when you play against teams like this.
You know, Jesper, the last couple games, and the coach mentioned it, you guys are doing much more off the rush. You're scoring goals. Yours a beautiful one-timer. Have you concentrated, like, to do more off the rush, or is it just happening?
I think it's probably a little bit of everything. I think that we're probably feeling like we're getting a little bit more to our game overall. I think all of our individual guys are starting to find their game a little bit better. I think we're creating more just of pure instinct. I think that we're all just kind of not grabbing our sticks as tight as maybe earlier. And I mean, we're getting some goals that go in, and then obviously when you're a top player or whatever, and you get some goals that starts going in, you already all of a sudden start feeling the game overall better. You feel more confident with the puck, and you just feel like you can make other plays off the rush and be smart with it at the same time. And I think that Jack and Brownie made a great play to me, and I just try to find my poise there to get myself open and try to be ready for those shots.
And you came up with your 15th goal of the season. I'm sure this year has been very frustrating for the players. It's been frustrating, and you understand that, for the fans who expected so much more. What do you think about the fact that some things are happening now and they didn't happen earlier. I know that's just the game, but you're scoring goals. You got 4 tonight. You had 6 the other night. Devils have now been scoring goals at a rate that we somewhat expected earlier. Just wondering what the feeling is. Like, do you ever wake up and go, why is it happening now? Why didn't it happen in November?
Yeah, I think that as a very competitive individual, I think that you probably, or I at least, pretty much wake up every day and just try to find ways to get better. And then obviously if you have a game or a stretch when things aren't really going your way, it's definitely on your mind for a lot of hours of the day when you try to find ways to get better and you just want to sometimes relive those situations and do the right thing. And so obviously, yeah, there's for sure times that it's been a little frustrated, but at the same time I'm try to bring out that competitive mindset to just the next day. Just there's not a lot of things that you can just hang yourself up on. I think you'll just dig yourself a bigger hole the more you hang up yourself on it. The energy that you can take from it is to just get better the next day, and then one day it's going to come a time when you start finding it, and then you're going to excel and be even better.
So 15 games left in the regular season, starting with Wednesday's game against the New York Rangers. What do you hope these next 15 are all about?
Yeah, I mean, we're looking to win the next game. That's about it. We've been liking our game now for a few games when there's been stretches that we've been playing pretty consistent. I think there's obviously like maybe 1 or 2 games here at home that we felt like we could have maybe done a little different, but I think overall we've been pretty consistent with our game and been scoring some goals. And as a group right now, obviously we know where we are in the standing. We know what the reality of it is, but we're not moving further forward than the next game against the Rangers.
And that'll be a good one for sure. The last game, it went the Devils' way. Hopefully that's the same on Wednesday. It's always enjoyable when the Devils and Rangers square off. Jesper, thanks very much for your time.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Jesper.
Jesper Bratt. And, that is you were a player in this league for a long time. I find it fascinating how quickly things get put in the rearview mirror. Like, hey, we're done with tonight. It's on to the next game. So, yeah, but there has to be that sense of like, oh.
No, there's carryover. You that's what we say, but no, just like your question was great. It's everyone's question. Why can they look so dynamic tonight? Defense are involved. We're scoring off the rush. We're just, and why not before? And they did get some bad breaks earlier, and they couldn't get over 2 goals. And I get all that. It was a condensed schedule, and I hated that. You never know how tired the players are. But when you look at this Devils team, and I said it tonight, Maddie, you look at Bruins and you look at the Devils, and you're just being unbiased. You cannot say the Bruins are a better team than the Devils. You can't. But they're probably going to make the playoffs, and the Devils won't. So it's that mystery of why goals can be scored some nights and not others. But we're going to put everything in the rearview mirror too, and Maddie, we're going to enjoy each night. Right?
Yes, absolutely.
That's all we can do, just like the players.
We're lucky to be able to bring you the games, and we're happy to be here, and we'll be happy wherever the roads take us over the next 5 games. Devils off to Madison Square Garden, Washington, then Dallas, Nashville, and wrapping things up against Carolina. At any rate, the point is we're very happy to be able to do it, and yeah, let's just have some fun, and winning is fun, and the Devils have been doing that more often lately than they did earlier. By the way, Detroit won tonight, as we mentioned earlier. Boston with the 1 point, so they flip-flop positions in the wild card race. Columbus outside with 79 points, then Ottawa with 77. Philadelphia maybe has a chance in their mind, but I don't think so, not at 7 points. So it's really down to 10 teams battling for 8 spots, and really it's 5 teams. Montreal's got 82 points. No, the Islanders have got 81. It's crazy. Islanders could slip down out of third and be in a wild card position based on what Columbus does over the next few games. It's going to be fun down the stretch. But at any rate, right now, Detroit, first wild card, Boston, second wild card. Detroit and Montreal tied in points. Montreal has the tiebreak, and Boston will play Montreal tomorrow night. That'll be fun. Well,
it will be very interesting. I got to tell you, I watched the game last night. Montreal blew it late in the game. They could have picked up a point, and I don't want to get into the defensive decisions by some of the Canadians' defense, but it cost them. So they're not on a roll, right? They're having trouble. And Boston, they got a win in a shootout in Washington. They got a point tonight, but they're not, like, on fire either. So tomorrow night is going to be very interesting.
Devils win tonight, 4-3 the final score. Let's check out some highlights, and we'll start in the first 5 minutes. And you heard Jesper Bratt talk about it. We were describing it. The Devils not showing the same energy that they would later in the game. Boston taking advantage, and Boston taking an early lead. Now Hustininov to the blue line. Jokiharju with a shot that's blocked away. Hit a Bruin in front. They slide it home. It's David Pastrnak. The blocker save went right off of Pastrnak, and he was all in front. Now, what is that? Just puck luck? I mean, Markey made the save, but it just happened to hit, their best goal scorer.
Well, that doesn't help. But, no, it's the move he made. He can open her. If I said to Markey next time, he would say, I just stay tight. But no, that's Pastrnak, and he knows it. Oh, is this guy going to do something special? Deke around me. So you start to maybe make the first move a little bit, and he opened up, and his stick was not in the right position, and it went right through his legs. And that's a goal scorer's goal.
His 25th of the season, Jokiharju and Hustininov with the score, with the assists at 4:02, a 1-0 Boston lead. Later on in the period, we had the first of two fights tonight. And it's Corrali right wing side to Hampus Lindholm with a shot save made by Markstrom. Dylan and Kastelik going at it. They may drop the gloves. Kastelik not afraid to fight. They both drop them. Dylan and Kastelik. It's behind the Devils net. Now they move away from the trapezoid. No one's thrown a punch yet. Kastelik lands one. Dylan lands one. Dylan with an uppercut. Kastelik an overhand right. Couple of rapid punches by Dylan. Two combatants squaring off. A right by Dylan, another rapid punch. A right by Kastelik. Dylan caught an uppercut. His head snapped back. He's still throwing some punches. Now he slows down a bit, and the linesmen step in. Oh, that was a nice one.
You even sounded tired. I mean, that was, in the scheme of fighting in the National Hockey League now, that ranks up with some of the best.
So they both went off for fighting at 8:30. There was no more scoring until about 10 minutes after Pastrnak gave Boston the 1-0 lead. His fellow countrymen made it 2-0. Bumped was Hamanaho. The puck came loose. Luke Hughes has it at center ice. Losing an edge, toe picking a bit is Gritsuk. Now it's Arvidsson, splits, moves in, plays it cross ice, they score. The former Devil, Pavel Zacha, gives the Devils a 2-0 lead. Or that's Boston, a 2-0 lead. Pavel Zacha with his 20th goal of the season at 14:29. And gosh, Gritsuk fell down. There were players falling down at center ice all night.
I know, and that wasn't the end of it. Those were 2 goals on crazy plays, but there's going to be more coming.
So the Devils were outplayed, outscored in the first period, but clearly there was a change, and you heard Jesper Bratt talk about it. You had to pull a little bit out of him. It wasn't just the coach saying what to do. The players knew what to do. Connor Brown told us after the second period that they dumped the puck and used their speed to get behind Boston, who was standing up at the blue line. They changed their approach a little bit, and it paid dividends, and Connor Brown was the initial early beneficiary. Now the Devils pump it ahead. Connor Brown, he's in all alone, he scores! Connor Brown takes the pass from Jack Hughes. He beats Jonas Korpisalo, and the Devils are within one. Connor Brown with his 12th goal of the season. Jack Hughes with his first of 3 assists. That was his 400th career point, fastest in Devils history to reach that mark. Tonight he was playing his 414th game, and 32 seconds in, things turned around.
And that is not going to be his last sending a teammate on a breakaway. That'll come later, but Brownie really finished it off. Now, I want to say this. When I ask a player, Matty, I'm never saying when somebody comes in what was said after the first period. I do not mean a coach. That never affected me. The coach is going to – it's the players. You say to me, hey, whatever. And Jesper, I got to tell him that. I'm not talking about a coach coming in and saying magical words. It's the players. And whatever they felt, whatever they said among themselves, boy, did they come out in the second period.
Devils did catch a break, or maybe Jacob Markstrom made one of his best saves of the year. There was an open net for Sean Corrali, and Jacob Markstrom had a dive to his right, got the blocker on it, and kept the puck out of the net. Instead of 3-1, it stayed 2-1.
And that affected both teams, Matty. Sitting on both benches, you saw what he did, and you think, oh, this game is not what we hoped it would be.
Devils outshot Boston 17-8 in the second period, and Jesper Bratt, as you heard a moment ago in our conversation with him, was able to get the equalizer. Here's a turnover by McAvoy. He gave it to Jack across the line to Brown, the trailer, now to Bratt. He scores! Jesper Bratt fires it off of Korpisalo and in, and the Devils have scored twice to tie it at 2. Tough night for Charlie McAvoy. He was on for goals for both teams.
No, he was. He was giving the puck away. I mean, Charlie McAvoy is not a rock-solid defenseman. But he's good offensively, and you need that kind of player. But tonight, boy, a lot of things went against him, and Devils capitalized.
2-2 after 2. Into the third we would go, and early on, just like Connor Brown in the second, it was Paul Cotter early in the third. Now Siplikov far side. He's challenged by Zaka. They tie each other up. Siplikov works it free for Brendan Dillon. Quickly gets it out of the zone. Up ahead for Siplikov. In the Boston end. Makes a move. Cuts in front. Hands it off. They score! Paul Cotter gives the Devils the lead, but Maxim Siplikov with a great setup. Boy, he was beautiful in that move. In the last 3 games, he has been a revelation.
And he threw a big check earlier in the game. I mean, here's what I'm seeing. He wants to be involved. He wants to use his body, and he wants the puck. Like what he did to set up that goal, that wasn't just simple. He had to have something designed that he was going to beat the defenseman and then pass the puck, and he did all that. And Paul Cotter, nobody celebrates with a happier heart than he did, and that was certainly evident on that goal.
Devils take the 3-2 lead, but Boston would come back a minute 42 later. David Pastrnak doing what he does. 2D in on the rush, but here comes Pastrnak back the other way. Toe drag moves, still with it, back fair. Scores. What a play by David Pastrnak, and this game is tied at 3. That was an outstanding toe drag.
And that's why you heard not fair. When I saw him make that toe drag, I said, that isn't fair. Most players shouldn't be able or can't do it, but he did it, and then the finish, Matty, was outstanding too. So, you know, he had a real good night, but, you know, he couldn't do it alone.
That was it for the scoring in regulation. It was an unassisted goal at 4:32. And then once we got to about the halfway point of the period, all sorts of funky stuff started to be called. There was a fight that was between Kastelik and Kovacevic. It came after Kastelik hit Paul Cotter, who was turned on another check and kind of face down low a little bit, and he got a big shoulder into his nose and chin, and blood was spurting out. And then Covey is talking to Kastelik because he sees his teammates injured, and it looked like it was a dirty hit. I mean, you couldn't tell in the speed at which it occurred. And now, next thing you know, Kastelik and he have a fight, and I'm thinking, well, there was a penalty called. There was a whistle blown when Kastelik hit Cotter. I said, all right, well, the Devils, they'll be fighting majors, but the Devils will have the power play they were going to get. But no, they give 2 minutes to Kovacevic for unsportsmanlike conduct, so there was no advantage gained.
Well, no, and let's just say, okay, they're just going to call Kastelik on an interference call. So, but on an interference call, if you cut someone and the blood's running out of your nose, that's not an extra 2, I guess.
No.
Because it wasn't.
Not in the view of our referees tonight. And then Nico Hischier was called for a trip at 10:45. Those penalties were at 9:18. At 11:21, Connor Brown and Charlie McAvoy were set off. McAvoy for interference. Brown, they said he embellished the play. McAvoy's legs were wrapped around him. They were wrapped around him. Anyway, so like I said, some wackiness at 12:22. Bukestad, that was a legit call, a trip. Aspero at 15:29 called for a trip. That was a legit call. And then Mercer's interference. And again, that was legit. But we had pretty much played a penalty-free game until that point, and then whistle, 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 whistle. There was a 5-on-3 advantage for Boston, but they failed to score. Devils penalty kill got the job done, 3 for 3 tonight. And so we would go to overtime, tied at 3. Now, unfortunately, we had a technical issue, not able to bring you the end of the game live as it was happening. By the way, Chico is brilliant in his analysis. Sorry that you missed it. But the Boston Bruins, they were broadcasting the game as well. Ryan Johnston is their recently named, couple of years now, play-by-play announcer. Let's see how it sounded on the other side of the fence in what we will call the Prudential Play of the Game, brought to you by Prudential, the Devils' official financial services partner.
Pasternak just inside the blue line, able to find some space, crossing pass, McAvoy hit the post! And now it's cleared out. Jack Hughes waiting for it at center ice, gets it on to Cotter, right down the doorstep, he scores! With 6.2 to go in overtime, the Devils win it. Paul Cotter with his second of the night.
His 8th of the season. That's Ryan Johnston, the play-by-play announcer for the Boston Bruins. And the Devils win 4-3 on the Prudential Play of the Game.
And the key is Paul Cotter, if he didn't score, right, the game would end in 6.4 seconds, he'd still be the first Devils on the shootout, right? Because they picked him the last time. He's great on shootouts, and I just think he said, let's just end it now rather than wait for the shootout. And he's coming down, folks. He's on the goalie. He fakes. He left-handed shot, so the puck's on the left side. He fakes it, maybe going to go to his right, goes back to his left, chips it up, hit the leg pad of the goalie, off the pipe and in. And you talk about a celebration, and Maddie, you mentioned it. He's celebrating, folks, but he's got the cotton halfway out his nose. It's a great shot. I hope somebody got a picture of it because it is hockey pictures at their finest.
We will hear from Paul Cotter in a moment, but let's check in live with the head coach, Sheldon Keefe.
To bring that extra emotion, particularly in the second, how big of a moment can those little things be?
Well, I think your little things like that add up. Just shows engagement. I mean, I don't know if there's any greater investment physically and competitively that you'll find in our game than dropping your gloves and engaging with another guy. So yeah, big for Dilly. I didn't love our first period. If I take out the goals, our defending on the goals, on our play on the goals against, we're very poor. But the period in itself was a lot better than it appeared. We had 25 shot attempts in that period and only had 6 shots that got to the net or got on net, blocked and missed and all that kind of stuff. I thought we just had to find another level with our pace and our urgency, competitiveness, all of that. And then obviously couldn't had a better second period than we did. That was outstanding, pretty much from start to finish.
Something that we've been talking about over the last couple days is Bukestad's line, and you've been really working with them to connect all three of them together. We certainly saw that there tonight with Siplikov's assist on
Yeah, that was a great goal and an important one. I thought we were on our heels a little bit to start the third. Despite how good our second was, we had said, things are going to reset here now, and we jumped on Boston in the second. They were going to come out and look to establish their game in the third. I thought they did. That line got on the ice. Starts with a great play by Dylan to get the puck up the ice, bypass pressure. Siplikov, just strong play to drive wide and make the play. Cott's in a great spot, great finish. So, big goal for us. You'd like to see that one stand, but we did enough things obviously to get the game to overtime and get the win.
That third period was a lot of special teams, power play, PK. What did you see from your team in terms of managing those emotions properly? We were just talking to Dilly, said you can be like, oh man, we're on the PK, but now we're on, right? That has to be a very important part of managing that. Yeah,
and it really changed the temperature of the game itself, right? It was pretty, certainly penalty-free for the most part game to that point. Two teams, it was tight check-in, hard fought 5-on-5 game. All of a sudden, with the game tied, it's the third period is mishmash of penalties. So yeah, it took a lot there. And obviously now you're using only a portion of your bench because you're killing, and then the power play, so then other guys aren't playing. Like it was a bit of a strange third period that way. So the guys had to remain engaged mentally. And then Cotter, of course, gets the overtime winning goal, and he's a guy that takes a big shot to the head, and because of the nature of the rest of the period with the special teams, didn't play a lot, and goes out and scores the winning goal. So it's fitting.
Do you have any doubt when Paul Cotter's coming down one-on-one with the goaltender anymore?
We were talking back there. As coaches, we were just going to start walking off the bench. That's the level of confidence we had. My first thought was, well, this was great. We don't have to wait for the shootout. Let's just let him do his thing. So, yeah, it's like I've said before. I think he's at the top of the list of who you want to have in that type of situation.
And just the past few games, different ways of winning. You had the lead last time, ended up winning, and then tonight you didn't have it, and then came back to win it. Just how important is that? Yeah,
it's good to see. Obviously, we've had too many games that are, kind of the same type of script. We get down early in the game and we can't quite score to come back, and then we're just kind of trailing and chasing it, and then we can't get a game to overtime, can't get the extra point, whatever it is. It's kind of been the theme most of the season, but we've done, as you say, different things. We've been able to come back. We've had times where we've got the lead and gave it up and then had to get it back. So especially this time of year with what we're going through, for our guys to stay mentally engaged and finding their way through those spots that have been a challenge through the season. Yeah, I think it's healthy and a good sign.
Yeah, I know, you mentioned about Cotter, how you guys, almost like left the bench and everything like that, but, I know you've been asked a lot about, his ability in the shootout or, one-on-one with the goalie. I mean, I imagine he's got to be up there with, for you in terms of, like, all-time players that you've coached on the shootout, right?
Yeah, I certainly, I had some pretty good guys in Toronto, too. But Bratt, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think Bratter's perfect in the shootout this year. He's actually better than Cotter, I think, in terms of percentage this year. So he's done well. But yeah, like I said, when I look at the chances that he's had to score in alone on a goaltender, shootout or live play, a lot of them comes off 4-on-4, 3-on-3 situations, or he's able to get behind defense, and he's got a lot of confidence. There, and because of the finish that he's had, he's earned the confidence of the coaches. I mean, that's what you want. That's what whether it's you have something like that you do, or whether it's you kill a penalty, or you're a guy that's reliable defensively, or you're going to make plays consistently. You want to find a way to build confidence, with your teammates and the coaching staff, so that you're getting put in spots. The rest of the team's like, yeah, that's obvious. It makes sense. Like he's the guy. So that certainly is the case. To me, there's no doubt. So if we get to a shootout, that he's the first guy that's going to go, because it gives you an opportunity to get ahead of it.
Thank you, Sheldon.
Okay, thanks.
Sheldon Keefe, in a happy frame of mind, as all coaches are after a win, and a lot of good things to talk about. Paul Cotter's role with the 2 goals, only shift in overtime was the goal that he scored, and the Devils able to bounce back from a 2-0 deficit.
But it's Siplikov. I cannot believe someone didn't ask him about Siplikov. He throws checks. He makes plays. And on the goal, Maddie and I just watched it. It was brilliant, through his legs. Let's talk about that, because that guy might just be coming on. Unfortunately, the season's just about over. But, Maddie, this was a terrific game for him. And, just everybody's kind of picking their game up. The line we talked about with Glass and Hamanaho and Gritsik, they were good too. The team is just, you asked Bratter, and I don't know why, but everybody is at the top of their game right now, Maddie. And don't we wish it would have happened about 3 months ago? But it is what it is.
Exactly. And now the Devils focus on the Rangers on Wednesday. Before we wrap things up on our recap, let's check out what the game-winning goal scorer had to say. Here's Paul Cotter.
Cots, if you're going to score your first OT winner, you may as well with the cotton up your nose and the whole experience.
Yeah, I probably should have taken that thing out, but yeah, I'll take it. That's a good one when two of them find the back of the net. Nico reminded me that my first one actually was called off because of him, but yeah, I'm happy.
The first OT?
Yeah, last season.
Just sort of take me through that type of thought process there. It's different than going in on a shootout, just knowing that you've got people behind you.
Yeah, we were kind of hemmed in. There was a little craziness going on right beforehand, and I remember right when the puck was up, I took a peek at the clock and knew it was winding down, so I looked at Doug. Doug yelled, "Just keep going," so I just tried to do something quick, and happy it went in.
Just, the way this whole game unraveled, specifically that second period where you guys really tilted the ice, was it more a matter of you guys just sort of using your speed, making those quick decisions to sort of tilt the ice in your direction at that point?
Yeah, I mean, it was. I think it was a mixture of a lot of things. I mean, they, like you said, but also I think we pulled together as a team. I mean, sometimes guys are yelling across the bench or guys are angry. Myself included. Obviously, the production hasn't been there, so it's hard. But I think once Dilly stepped up, then he got the momentum going, then Covey, and then it's like, all right, we got our backs here. And during a game like that has that much emotion, I think our team does very well, and we have the guys that have skill, we have the guys that can play hard, and then when we all do it the same way, it's pretty hard to beat. So I thought we were kind of in that mode, which was great.
Something Brownie said was sort of to that effect, but also like the winning team will be the one who sort of contains those emotions properly, right?
Yeah, no, 100%. We're both good teams. They're heavy, hard-nosed, great on the forecheck, but very structured at the same time. So, if there's going to be mistakes made. If we make a big deal out of those mistakes, then it's going to be costly. But if we're level-headed, help each other. Obviously, there's going to be mistakes, so how do we manage it? And I thought we did a great job of that, like Brownie said. So, yeah.
What was the feeling at the first intermission, Cots, after they took the 2-0 lead?
Yeah, it was tough. We obviously have been talking and emphasizing how big our starts are. I thought that we've actually been coming out of the gate pretty good, and then slowly it's kind of gotten away from us from a bad bounce or something. But it was the same thing, and we came in here and said what we needed to say, and like I said, I think Dilly and Covey were probably our biggest reasons why it started to go in our direction, and we pulled together as a team, and that's what I think helped us the most.
What is it about the shootout or breakaway that makes you nearly automatic?
I have no idea. I mean, probably just I did 1 million, 2 million reps in my basement on the ice after practice, everything. So I think it's just kind of repetition at this point. They're pretty fun. I'm happy. I'm pretty good at them. So we'll just leave it at that so the goalies don't know what's going on.
Did you have a book on Corpy? Did you know where you were going with that book? Or?
You know what? Actually, he hasn't been in a shootout in quite some time, so there actually wasn't too much video on him. Yeah, I was going to go 5-hole. I planned to go 5-hole, and then I got probably hit in the head in the second. So, yeah, or third. It was third, right? Probably made me just do my normal move, so I'm glad I did.
Well, what sort of... Go ahead.
What do you see from Sifakov, particularly these last 3-4 games, the way you guys have meshed together?
Yeah, he's been great. I think something he's really good at, kind of what we touched on earlier, was just being level-headed. He's, it's difficult sometimes with limited playing time, and when you're feeling good and making plays, and then you don't go out for a while, it's hard. You need to manage those emotions, and he's so good at that. He's able to make plays, and sometimes when the game gets emotional like that, and then it's kind of like, I don't want to make a mistake, where he's just calm, and he'll make a play, and he's going to make a play. I kind of slowed up hoping he would, and he's always talking on the bench like, hey, what do you think about this or that? Or so he's just so good at that, and it's helped me just kind of like level-headed a little bit too, and just him being able to make those plays, not afraid to make those plays, is awesome.
He's got a year left on his contract. He was acquired from the Islanders in the Andre Palat deal, and the Devils are happy to move Andre to a team that has a chance to win. They also get some money off their salary cap, so a good move from that standpoint, and it may pay out could pay off next year?
Well, I mean, it only makes the decisions more difficult, Matty. That's the problem. Not the problem, it's a good problem. But if they play really well down the stretch, and I told you, Marty Brodeur said to me, and he's so right, we got some tough decisions to make, and we got to make the right ones. But now you got Sipwikoff, and you think, can I count on him for next year? Well, if he's going to play this way, you can, right? Mm-hmm. So, there's that. It's Paul Cotter's goal. There's just a lot of variables that are coming to light here down the stretch, and most of them are positive. But still, do you just stay the way you did, or you did this year, and say, just one of those years, next year's going to be different? Or I'm just saying, I don't have the answer, but there's going to be some very difficult conversations where someone's going to have to make a decision on some of these players.
Absolutely. As for the Devils, the immediate future is Madison Square Garden. Yes. That is always fun. Devils and Rangers, no complaints there.
No, the Rangers beat Minnesota. They won some big games. If they come home, and it's home, right? Home is away for them, it seems like, right? Because they can't win at home. But when the Devils come to town, there's going to be a different vibe in that building. And I, for one, want the Devils to show, the game against L.A., not a fluke. Tonight, not a fluke. No, we are really a good team. And if they can do it in Madison Square Garden, that's going to turn a lot of heads, Matty.
The Rangers with just 9 wins on the home ice, losing to Los Angeles tonight. And that's the second fewest in the NHL. Vancouver only has 7 home wins.
Yeah, and in Vancouver, I know them very well. They have nothing there. No great young players that you're going to build around. So it's going to be long. But the Rangers, I don't know. That's an incredible 9 wins.
That's it.
Well, it'll be interesting, and I'll get off this, but not that game, but the final Ranger home game. If I'm a Ranger fan that's paid for season tickets, I might be booing them that last home game, saying thanks for nothing, because 9 home wins, that's just not acceptable.
Nope, and the Devils hope it stays at 9 when they play them on Wednesday night. It's a game you'll hear here on the Devils Hockey Network.